Putting together an optimized sound system for every type of vehicle does come with challenges, but Diamond Audio is out to prove that with better components, you can create ultimate sound systems. Today on Connected, we've got product specialist John Catalano coming in to talk to us about different ways to look at how to build the perfect sound system using Diamond Audio components. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Diamond Audio, and it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. We're talking Diamond Audio today, a brand that is no stranger to pretty much car audio as a whole. It started out in the SQ sector and has certainly developed an amazing catalog full of different components. But on today's Connected, it's going to be a little bit different. Sure, we usually show you the latest and greatest, but how about some intel on how to really build the right sound system using the right components, in this case from Diamond Audio? We go now to John Catalano, who's joining us to shed some light on today's conversation.
Thanks for having me again, Ben. So at Diamond, we offer a wide range of products that can help you build the ultimate sound system for your listening pleasure, your needs, your budget. Although we have entry-level products, I don't call them entry-level by any means. And then we go all the way up to our high-end Italia edition Diamante series components that you're talking about, a $2,500 set of components. So we have a wide range of products, amplifiers, speakers, subwoofers, to make these make your system sound great. And we can use these things in different ways because we have products that are different. We understand that sound is a subjective topic, but we like to have features and things that we can prove that this is why our product is better and take that out of the equation. So we can show you that our product is the one that you need to make your system sound the best.
So we're talking about the perfect sound system using Diamond components by leveraging some of the technologies and features that Diamond offers. This is going to be a great conversation, guys. But first, an opportunity for our partner SiriusXM to chime in and remind you why it's always a great add-on sale. And when we come back, let's dive into system building with Diamond Audio. Don't you dare go away.
Hi, Paul Truman here with SiriusXM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with SiriusXM. It's like we're there now.
The SiriusXM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what SiriusXM provides.
SiriusXM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and SiriusXM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side SiriusXM 360L, which is an expanded platform for SiriusXM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with SiriusXM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is SiriusXM ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back to today's Connected. Now, we've got John Catalano from Diamond Audio in the studio with us today. John, we're talking about building better systems, right? And this is something that is very important for not only dealers, but installers and consumers and enthusiasts to understand, because system building is an art form. You really have to have everything lined up perfectly to come together and really produce that sound that, as you say, is a subjective listening experience. So I think a great place to start is from the speakers themselves. I know that Diamond offers several different levels of quality and price points, but when it comes to the component speakers, what does Diamond have to offer?
So let's start with component speakers, right? Again, DMD is our entry level, but it is not. It punches well above its weight class as far as sound quality and dynamics, efficiency. These are the things that you want for sort of, if you want to just pigeonhole it as an entry level, because typically they're going to be running on less power, things of that nature, or maybe even deck power. So you need a very efficient driver. So our speakers are designed to utilize the power in an efficient way and give you very good sound quality. So then you go up next to the DES line. So you go DES, it's a step up. You're getting better componentry. You're getting cast baskets. You're getting the RAF, so the rear acoustic fill, which we could touch on some more in when we talk about the amplifiers. But that allows you to use less components and get more out of it. So we would want to give the rear acoustic fill could be hooked up to your rear speakers that may be the OEM, maybe they're aftermarket, it doesn't matter. But then you're able to tune the system better. You only have to use 2 channels of amplification instead of 4, and so you get a lot more out of those. And then you go up to Hex and Hex Pro, and then the Hex Pro Italia Diamante limited edition, where you're talking exotic components, 3-ways, 2-ways, aluminum mid-ranges, silk dome tweeters, carbon fiber composite cones, cast baskets, intricate amplifier-sized crossover networks. So all these things integrate so perfectly with each other. The limitations are really up to the imagination of the installer and them knowing what they can do with our stuff that's different than the everyday run-of-the-mill products that are on the market. We can give you a lot more sound quality for a lot less money and a lot less complexity in the system design by utilizing things at their utmost.
Joining us now is Dave McLean from Dix Performance, the Canadian distributor for Diamond Audio. Kind of shed some light on this matter when it comes to the component speaker selection from Diamond.
Yeah, so when it comes to Diamond, it makes it easy to design a good system on a budget. You know, whether we've got a big budget or a small budget, there's a set of speakers for that customer, there's an amplifier selection for that customer, and there's an opportunity to create some dynamic, unbelievable audio changes to these cars without making it complicated.
All right, we move on now to the next component in the chain for completing a system. And we got to talk about amplifiers. And one of the biggest challenges with amplifiers is the integration side of things. Where are we getting the signal from? So what kind of solutions does Diamond Audio present when it comes to the amplifier category?
All right, now to touch on amplifiers, we have the DMD, DES, and Hex lines. So the same things that we talked about with the speakers apply to the amplifiers. Very cost-effective, power versus performance versus cost. And as you go up, the performance increases. We also feature some things that are very unique. We have, they're differential balance inputs. So the RCAs are also line level inputs. You just need to have an RCA to speaker level to go ahead and throw line level right into those. So that gives you some flexibility there. We have auto turn on. That gives you some flexibility. If there's no remote lead in that vehicle, you don't have to have one. You can use the auto turn on. And then features like that overlook things, like there's commonality in the size of the amplifier. So if you're doing a system and you want some symmetrical looking install, you have a multi-channel amp and a monoblock that are the same size. So these are the little details that set Diamond apart from a lot of the other competitors that are out there in the market. And again, we can work within a budget because we have really good power. So we could do a multi-channel amp and turn it into a 3-channel and utilize that RAF feature that we talked about earlier on the components. So you don't have to have 2 amplifiers. You can do it all with 1 and then utilize and get the most out of that amplifier and the most out of those speakers and keep that budget in check.
That's a great point, John. Keeping things in budget and giving the customer much more than they expect is important when we're installing an amplifier, and being able to utilize every watt and every ounce of power that amplifier has is important.
All right, so we've got speakers, check. We now have amplifiers, check. We got to have the finishing touch to any sound system. And of course, I'm talking about subwoofers. And guess what? Diamond's got a lot of options when it comes to subwoofers as well, but some unique features that we definitely need to talk about when it comes to really dialing in those lower frequencies.
All right, now, so as a continuation of what we were just talking about, there's 3 lines of subwoofers, and there's also different versions of subwoofers. So we have raw drivers, we have enclosures, we have powered enclosures, we have spare tire enclosures, we have underseat enclosures. We've got the solution, be it be a budget constraint, a size constraint, or an output constraint. We can make this work for the customer. So DMD drivers, great bang for the buck. DES drivers, award-winning, They come in prefab enclosures. We have active ones. Those things just are phenomenal for the price. We sell tons and tons of these, and we wouldn't be able to do that if they weren't sounding great. And they all have that unique Diamond sound. Diamond's known for quality, and they want that perfect attack and decay, so that bass has impact and it's powerful. You could feel it, but it's clean at the same time. We're not talking that boomy ground pounder, hear you down the block, and it's all sloppy. We're talking accuracy. That system needs to be tight, and it needs to be accurate, and that's what Diamond's all about.
I couldn't have said it better myself, John. Those subwoofers absolutely kill. If they're in the boxes, if they're in a custom enclosure, if they're in a prefab enclosure, Diamond Audio has an amazing selection of subwoofers, full size, shallow, micro, preloaded, active, passive, you name it. There's a sub for every listening like and taste out there with Diamond Audio.
Earlier I said there were 3 components, but you know what? As I hear you guys talk and you guys are walking through all these great options that Diamond Audio offers, there has to be another component, and I'll call this the 4th dimension, if you will, right? Because it's great that we have great speakers, we have great amplifiers to power those speakers, and of course, the subwoofer dealing with the lower frequencies, but there's a lot to be said about the integration. And let's face it, the biggest concern, challenge, obstacle that are coming into today's shops are the vehicles themselves. So I'd like to hear, to round out this conversation, what kind of integration solutions that Diamond proposes from their catalog when it comes to solving these problems.
That's a great observation, Ben. So the newer vehicles, we all know they're more complicated. They're a CAN bus, there's data bus, they have sensors everywhere. Everything's running on some kind of multiplexing. So the newer amplifiers in these vehicles, or the radio themselves, they're difficult to replace, right? So you want to keep the factory unit. So we're going to have to integrate to that factory unit in some way. So old school LOC isn't going to do it. You hook up an old LOC to a newer vehicle, one or two things is going to happen. That LOC is just going to melt because it can't handle the output power of the factory amplifier, or the factory amplifier is going to shut off because it thinks there's something wrong because it doesn't see the speaker anymore. So we have a solution for that in a 2-channel, 4-channel, 6-channel, and 8-channel options. And they have where you could do single input or 2-channel input and still get 8 out, or you could do all 8 out on the 8-channel and vice versa. It comes with auto turn on, so you can do regular remote turn on, Vox, or DC offset. So that covers a wide range of vehicle applications. So you can get that turn on lead again because you're using an OEM radio. And then finally, load resistors. So those load resistors are going to allow that factory amplifier to think everything is fine, and it's going to keep sending signal out. Again, where I said the factory amplifier may stop playing because you disconnected the speakers that add aftermarkets. Well, this is the solution to make that keep happening. It's user selectable right on the top, and you can scroll through them. You don't have to worry about hurting anything. You're just going to turn the system on, flip the switch. If that one works, great. If not, you flip it again, you go in, and turn it off and on again until you get sound. That way, everything stays kosher, and you get that great sound from the factory head unit. And then finally, we were talking about how much power they have, the factory systems. These feature 40 volts of inputs. That's 400 watts equivalent of input power. You can't do that with an old school LOC. The resistors would be the size of a Coke can. So we have the solution so you can integrate your system and you can add that Diamond Audio sound to any vehicle.
Of course, when we build systems, integrating it into the vehicle is the most important step. Diamond offers that with their LOCs. These are stout built pieces. They're all metal. They have great instructions. They fit where the other ones won't. And of course, they have the Diamond Audio signature sound. What's to lose?
All right, that was both John Catalano, who's the product development manager for Diamond Audio, as well as Dave McLean from Dix Performance North joining us. Now, if you want any more information on any of the products we covered, we talked about DMD, DES, HEX, and every category, head on over to the Diamond Audio website. We'll put that on the screen right now. And if you happen to be a dealer in Canada, you're like, I want me some of that Diamond Audio stuff to try out, make sure you connect with the folks at Dix Performance North. Their link is right here, and be a Diamond dealer today. All right, my takeaway from this, I love it when brands come in and don't just do a show and tell. Because let's face it, if it's a show and tell, it's great, and I love that. But having the insight of specialists like John who can come in and really explain to you some of the features and technology that brands like Diamond put into their products to help facilitate installation, to help optimize budgets, and to help get this gear sounding exactly the way your customer wants, well, for me, that's of extremely high value. So I do appreciate that type of insight. I also love the fact that Diamond has really intelligently focused their attention on providing solutions by breaking out their different their catalog and their products into these kind of good, better, best scenarios. But it's not simple enough to look at it that way. If you were paying attention, depending on what you want to do, there was a ton of different helpful hints on today's show that'll help you optimize that sale and deliver that amazing sound that Diamond Audio is known for. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.